guys. I'm going to be doing a video today. It's a little bit different than what I usually do, my NFL sort of stuff. This is about Formula One. It's kind of like just like a tribute video um, for Michael Schumacher, who's my view. For those of you who don't know, is my sporting idol, hero kind of thing. Um, Obviously, a lot of people know about the massive accident he had last year when he was skiing, and he was in a coma, and he's been in hospital ever since till this day today. Um, the latest signs were positive that he was gonna remember most of his life and not totally forget everything he's done in his career basically. Still a long way to go though for him to be back to any sort of normality, I would say. So I just wanted to run down some of his career statistics and why he's simply the best sportsman for me of all time. He came into Formula One in 1991 with the Jordan team that was run by Eddie Jordan, the analyst for BBC right now. He took part in one race with Jordan at the Belgian Grand Prix, and on the first lap retired with an engine problem. And then a week later was signed by Benetton and completed the last 5 races of that season, I believe. And from there on, 1992, he was full-time driver with Benetton up until 1995. He won his first 2 championships with Benetton in 1994 and 1995 with his big publicised rivalry with Damon Hill, who drove for Williams, including the race where Michael won the championship with Damon Hill went up the inside to try and take the lead, and they collided and they both retired, but that ended up meaning Michael won the world championship in 1994, and then in 1995 won it a lot easier. And then 1996 moved to Ferrari, which at the time was a really bad car. He had offers from Williams, McLaren, and Ferrari, and chose Ferrari obviously. He won the 1996 Spanish Grand Prix from 16th on the grid with a poor Ferrari car at the time, not what it was made into in the next few years. Then in 1997, nearly won the World Championship again, collided with this time Jacques Villeneuve, but it ended the other way. The collision made Villeneuve the world champion, and they disqualified Michael Schumacher from the World Championship in 1997. In 1998, he broke his leg at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, and Hakkinen, who drove for McLaren, the Finn, won the 1998 championship and the 99 championship. Then in 2000 to 2004, Michael Schumacher won the next 5 world championships with Ferrari, with a lot of people believe is the 2002 and 2004 cars are the best Formula One cars to ever be made. The 2 Ferraris that Michael drove. In 2004, his last championship, his 7th. He also holds the record for most championships in a row with 5 from 2000 to 2004. And he's got 7 overall with the 2 he had at Benetton, which is obviously everyone knows is a record. Next up is Fangio, who drove in the 1950s and 60s or something like that, has 5 world championships and he's 2nd. But it just shows that Michael won 5 in a row, and that's as many as the next guy won in his whole career basically. And in 2004, he retired from the Grand Prix at Monaco after hitting the barrier in the 6th race of the season. But up until that race, he won the first 5, and he won the next. Can't remember how many it was, but he won 12 out of the first 13 races in that season. which is still a record. I mean, Vettel with Red Bull a couple of years ago won, I think it was 13 races or 14, but there was 20 races in that season, whereas Michael did the 12 wins with only 17 races. So it's kind of easier now if you have a car that can dominate like Hamilton's had with Mercedes last year. It's a lot easier to win that, a couple more races than what Michael did, based on there's more opportunities because there's more races basically. So and then in 2005 and 2006, Alonso won the championships. In 2005, that was the first year since Michael had been winning where he didn't have a winning car, but he came back strong in 2006 and actually holds the record for most wins in a season by a runner-up. I wrote that down because I can't remember it. With it was 7, and I think he also had 8 pole positions that year, which is also a record for a runner-up. Some of his career statistics: he has 91 career wins, which is by far, I think it's 40 ahead of Alain Prost, the Frenchman, which is 40 more race wins. Is just unbelievable. It's one of those things. It's a bit like Federer in tennis, with his 100 and something titles compared to Nadal, who's got like 70 something, who's the closest to him in the Open era in that sport, and there's a few other sports than that. But to do it in a sport where it's not just you can't win if you don't have reliability of the car. It's a lot trickier in motorsport basically, because like in tennis, you're not going to be in the Grand Slam and then on match point your racket breaks and you go on to lose. Stuff like that just doesn't happen. Whereas on a last lap of a race, you're leading the World Championship and your engine goes, the guy past you and wins. It could be devastating in that sense. So you need things to go right for you. People call that luck, but obviously you need a bit of luck. Everyone does, And when people say they don't believe in luck, well, you're never going to achieve anything, then, are you? So, but yeah, 91 career wins in 308 races, 68 pole positions, which is also a record, 3 ahead of the great Ayrton Senna. What else does he have? He has 155 podiums, which is also, the basic, all these statistics are basically his records. 155 podiums, the 91 wins, 68 pole positions, 77 fastest laps. He also has, I think, 42 race weekends where he was on pole position for that race, won that race, and had the fastest lap of that race 42 times, which is incredible. A lot of drivers win from pole position, but I think Michael's won. He's won more races from not being on pole than actually being on pole position, which a lot of people don't, might not know. So he's also won at 22 different tracks, which is amazing, really. It seems as though when he was driving in the early 2000s, they barely had a new track on the F1 calendar. So that's also something that with the last couple of years they've been adding races like Russia, and they're looking to add Mexico, I think. There's even been talk of Azerbaijan or something like that. So it's just adding, and obviously there might be a New Jersey race, which would be the second American race, an extra race, because they're trying to get the season, I think next year's season, up to something like 22 races, which from 10 years ago where you had 16, 17 is a massive step up, and obviously a longer season but more chances to win, and it just gives. I prefer it when there's more races. The more races you can have, I think, as long as the car's competitive, you can get some really. I'm not particularly a fan of the new points rules. They've had for the last, I think it's 4 years. I liked it when they had the, the 10 points for a win. I mean, I'd be fine with like pushing it up to maybe 15, and then, or if you, well, they'd have to put it on an even number, I think. So that 16 for a win, 14 for second, 12 for third, and then 10, 8, 6, 4, blah blah blah, instead of just 25 and 18, and it's a lot of points. I mean, if they added 22 races, they're going to be having a lot of over 400, maybe even 500 points, and so then a gap could really separate in a world championship kind of situation. So yeah, I just wanted to make that quick video, a tribute kind of video to Michael Schumacher, something different than what I've been doing, and yeah, I hope you guys liked it, and look forward to the race this weekend actually. So see you guys soon.